Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Nestling in the foothills of the Berkshire Mountains in northwest Connecticut, Lime Rock Park is short, fast and a tough circuit, which has become a mainstay of sports car racing through the years. Then beautiful parkland, Lime Rock Park is usual in having no grandstands, with spectators invited to picnic on the grass banks which overlook the circuit, giving it the reputation as a very friendly and family-oriented venue. But tonight, we see the SRF Weekend Warriors attend here, and we know it's not going to be a family-friendly event. It's going to be down, dirty, elbows out, and action from green through to checkered. I'm Tim Cox. Got Jonathan Grabowski in the virtual production trailer, but right now, as always, I'm joined by Andy Thompson. Andy, round 8, where has the season gone? And let's not forget, Indy last week on the road course. What a race. I know I seem to say it every single race. I said the same after Virginia. Probably not quite as good of a finish compared to what we had in Virginia 2 weeks ago. But that was just absolute top tier and really hard to compete against. And even so, it was another barnstorming race from the Weekend Warriors yet again.
It certainly was, Tim, and thank you very much for the kind words. It's always great. Obviously, only my third race here in the SRF. Did the first one in Virginia, and I was treated to a grandstand finish off that. And even though last week was a little bit of an anticlimax right at the end, it was gearing up to be one of them spectacular rounds. But sort of gives me first to come back to this SRF. It's just such close racing out on track, and here today we're at Lime Rock Park, the staple of every iRacer's first experience here on iRacing. You know, I remember doing my Mazdas around here in the rookie leagues, but certainly have these SRF cars. It's going to be interesting. You know, it's going to be a technical course. It is very tight, very short, as you mentioned, and there's going to be a couple of tricky corners for these SRFs to navigate, and especially the corner they're going up now. So you can get some air off the top of this, the top of that hill there, that crest. So it's going to be interesting, Tim.
It really unsettles the car, doesn't it? Because you're still turning a lot of the time as well, and quite often a bit of understeer, forcing the car out wide. I think it's going to be a bit interesting in those opening laps through there, where everyone's tightly compacted, and if somebody loses it through not necessarily any fault of their own, especially if you touch the grass on the outside, we could be in for a bit of a big wreck, and it could be, you know, big losses, big gains, tears of joy and jubilation, or absolute commiseration. So I'll have to find out for that one. But qualifying, as always, well underway. We've got about 7.5 minutes left remaining for the 20-minute session. As always, all the drivers out on track, an open qualifying session. As we said, there is Paolo Gori having a bit of a excursion on the exit out of Big Ben, turn 1. And same with the groundskeeper's a bit of a job.
Yeah, he's gone from a cucumber sandwich to the picnic goers on the outside, I think.
Definitely gone to go and see, have a little look what they've got going in their picnics. Well, they're coolers, of course, being America, yes, and no traditional British pork pies or that sort of ploughman's lunch sort of fodder in their coolers for definite. If it's NASCAR, it'd definitely be full of beer. But we've got a new name near the top. Kane Halliburton, the Jamaican. Someone who we haven't seen for a few seasons in this series. And, well, he's back with a bang. He was right at the top during practice. Qualifying, it's no different. And, well, it's just another ingredient to be added into this spicy dish that is the top breakaway group that we see week in, week out, Andy.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's so close at the top. Just looking at the gap difference, and all the way down to 34th position is within a second of the leader. I mean, it's just insane. Super short lap, and the lines are pretty consistent around here, but to be 33 cars, less than a second between themselves and the leader is just insane, and it's going to be one of them races here tonight on Lime Rock Park. I just can't wait. I'm just giddy with joy.
Buzzing for it. I mean, all things considered as well, Andy, it seems though that we've got 44 drivers, of which some 5 of them are yet to set times. That shows you just how competitive things are, as there's Paratsky having a bit of an excursion. I'm going to see that quite a bit. Qualifying when the drivers are pushing so hard. But let's give a bit of a mention to the long-time series sponsor, RaceVoice. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with simple and easy to understand voice notifications and alerts, they have over 16 different notifications for upshift, downshift, over rev alerts, corner entry, turn in and exit speeds. It provides immediate feedback on driver and vehicle performance. Check those guys out. Absolutely brilliant piece of software and great to help you go faster in iRacing. Let's take a little look at the championship standings just as we're starting to head into the latter stages of qualifying for, I'm sure it'll all go a little bit bananas in the last stages, but Naselli leading the way right now on 608 points, 20 points clear of Marco Panero, his teammate. In second, Jorg Marni, but Mr. Consistency on 477, 2 points behind him, reigning champion, and currently the highest number of championships to his name is Aero Nom on 475. Yangji Lin, he's not far behind either in 5th, with Green, Mayer, West, Fritscher, and Jesus Rodriguez rounding out your top 10. Well, equal top 10 with Luca Lanoy. Let's have a look across into Spec 2, where we have got Lisnoy leading the way, and it's starting to become really commanding for him on 402 points, with Gibson nearly 40 points behind on 366. Alan McCain has had a really mixed season, and I think he's going to be a bit disappointed in 3rd by his own standards. Of course, Aeronom's teammate, he's on 328. Trispedini 302 with Andalo, Jackson, Favini, Wolbolt, Hansen and Sancinelli taking up to 10th place, and it's quite intense in that battle, 6th through to 10th. Masters class, well, it's been a bit of a change because Chris Mokami has been so dominant in this class, but Paratsky has really taken control, but he's seen his lead cut to be equal with Tom Gradwell at the top of Masters, with Ken Batley not far behind them either, only 8 points behind in third. Antonio Rice, well, on 3-2-4, he's still within a shout, so keep one eye out for him, with Bob Kern, Marcus Burkitt, Bradshaw, Chris McCrummy all the way down in 8th, well off the pace, over 100 points behind our leaders. Doesn't look like he's going to be retaining his title. We're long in, and Jim Brewster taking through to 10th place. But well, got around about 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, and there is Paratsky just bigging him up, and a bit of a curse to the commentator there as he goes for a really good trip across the grass, as Andy mentioned, trying to see what the spectators are on their coolers and picnic baskets. Now, this is on board with our reigning champion Aero Nom, who's just gone quickest as well. They're trying to find a bit of a gap in traffic right now. And in these open qualifying sessions, always a bit of a struggle, especially with big grid events. Then you slap in the factor of a 1.5 mile length circuit. It is so challenging to try and get your lap in and get a decent lap in at times.
Yeah, a 1.5 mile circuit with 43 cars on equals chaotic out there on track. I mean, you can get slipstream around this car, and with this is exceptionally well on slipstream, shall I say, and around this track you'll be able to slipstream pretty much all the way around, but there's some very tricky corners, as we mentioned, just going up there, up turn number 5 up the uphill. The west bend, turn number 6, is pretty much an easy flat out right, but you'll see the cars going right on the grass, and if you take too much grass in this corner here, coming downhill, turn number 7 is the most important corner on the track, because it leads you into the San Posse Straight there, the longest part, and the most obvious place to do the overtaking moves. I mean, you've got the very tricky turn 1, the big bend going into turn 2, it's sort of like almost like a double apex corner. You come into it, go out wide, come back into it, but you can see quite a few cars, and that's where we just saw Haraski taking his little detour from turn number 2 to turn number 4, missing out the left-hander. But going to be interesting, and this first lap, like I always say, is crucial to get around there safely, because problem with this track being that it's so small, you get one car off in front of you, like as we're seeing here. You know, you get one car off in front, and all of a sudden you just have a cascading domino effect, being that the cars will be that close, and with 43 cars in the grid, it's gonna be hectic. So I'm certainly glad that I'm a viewer and a commentator here tonight, because I certainly wouldn't like to be out on the grid, certainly in the mid-pack range. That's going to be absolute chaos.
Well, it's increased, Andy. Good news, maybe bad for some. We're now up to 46 registered for this session in the dying stages of qualifying. I'll tell you what, interesting ones yet to set times. Sergio Dorelli, your winner 2 rounds ago at VIR. So he'll be starting from the back of the grid. Likewise, wow, this guy, Andreas de Personi, qualifies extremely poorly every single week. I don't think he'll mind me saying that, but he's just sat out on track. I'm going to look at the trees there. Maybe a bit of a forestry fan amongst us, but the Uruguayan always goes incredibly strong in the race. Watch him coming through the field. That is one name to keep an eye out for. Another one, Michael Dobek, currently in 7th place. German, back into the championship. Great to see that name back. He'll be looking for a good result here at Line Park. The checkered flag is out, and it's looking like we're pretty much done and dusted. John Wilson, another new name to the championship. Great to see him on board as well. And I've got to say, a great qualifying from Stevie Ray, the series organiser. Up in 17th overall, 3rd in class. He'll take that every day of the week, for sure.
I'm sure he will, and yeah, it's all to play for still. There's pretty much, as we come to see, a big gaggle of pros at the top end of the green, with Lesnoy, your top S2 in P10, but then there's a couple of pros spread out through the field, and like you mentioned, some of the pros starting from the back of the grid, so certainly watch them. Durelli obviously nearly done the same move like he did in Virginia Raceway last week out in Indianapolis, but failed on the last couple of corners. So watch for them coming through.
Well, they're going to be interesting names. So let's run you through the grid. We've got a short lap here today at Lime Rock, as everyone marks up behind. Porsche 911 safety car, Aeronom on pole with Naselli joining him on the front row. So his teammate, he starts in third. That's Marco Panero. Kane Halliburton, the Jamaican, alongside him. Jorg Marni has got Yangji Lin for company with the fourth row, Michael Dobeck and Felix Samals. Jason Green has got Les Noy with him, your top qualifier in Spec 2, taking him to top 10. And row 5, Paolo Gori and Marcus Burkitt. Your highest qualifier in Masters is Burkitt in 12th. Row 7 is Jeff Fritscher with McAvey. Serge Mountainbout and Haratsky, Ray, Hansen, Batley and Gradwell run at the top 20 in 10th row of the grid. There's Marcos Trespadini and Adam Bradshaw with Andrea Favini, the Swede, hoping for a bit of a better result. Hasn't had the best of seasons. Let's see how he gets on today. Likewise, a driver with having exactly the same predicament. Alan McCain alongside him in 24th. Ian Gibson has Luke Noy alongside him with Flavio Andalo and Jesus Rodriguez taking you up to the 14th row. The 15th row is Mark Carter with Andrew Love, an all-American row here in their home race. Are they going to team up together or are they going to bang doors? Not long to find out at all. Paul Jackson lines up alongside Kurt Nunes with Jim Brewster and John Wilson taking it to 34th. There's Bob Kern and Jeff Cantor. That's a 36th. We have Stephen McDonald and Ken Poulin joining each other together. Gianni Longin as Bukaboza and Andrea taking up to row 20. 40 cars already. This shows you just how popular this series is. Well, it's an all South American row. Mention them both. Watch out for these two coming through the field. Andres Bertoni and Sergio Dorelli. To mention, Bertoni comes through the field fast, gains big places. Dorelli, second last time out, a big win at VIR 2 weeks ago. Watch out for them. Ryan Walker as Christian Versailles with him on row, well, can you believe it, 22. Gary Wolbolt as Joaquin Effinger are going to round out your 46 car grid. And everyone's going to have to be really aware here, aren't they, Andy?
They just so are. I mean, 46 cars on this small track is going to be insane. I mean, it's really lucky, I think, for a way that they've got a rolling start. Imagine if they were a static start with 46 cars. At least they might be able to spread out a little bit coming down through that last corner, turn number 7. So let's hope the first place of Aeronom doesn't leave it right up to the line to back them all up. But that first turn-in is going to be entertaining at Big Ben. Normally a big sight for quite a few cars to spin off. But let's hope these 46 cars manage to get around this lap in one piece.
You say that. I mean, we had last time we visited Lime Rock in the series, there was a big incident as we headed, funnily enough, just where we are now, out of West Bend and run down to diving turn. But let's find out. This Porsche 911 safety car just bringing them round. 40 minutes of racing in the SRF Weekend Warriors, round 8 from Lime Rock Park. Let's get ready to go racing as they're gonna go late by the looks of things, and here we go. We are green, and already a good start from Halliburton, picking up places into second. That's 2 places gained, and Naselli, the big loser in that front-running battle, and everyone else behind him getting away, well, relatively calmly. I say that, Bertoni already up 6 places. I told you to watch out for him. As we see in the midfield, everyone getting away relatively cleanly so far. It's going to be tight. It's going to be treacherous in these opening laps. You need to have eyes in the back of your head because one mistake from one person is going to cause a big incident. But Nom leading the way as we head around the second half of the circuit, the uphill, the back straight and into West Bend. It comes at you fast, furious. Under 1 minute lap times here. We're going to be in for a lot of laps. This is where it's going to get interesting because Halliburton is hot on his tail. Panero right behind. There's no breakaway group here. Everyone knows the tail. And you can see from looking back from Nom just how close the Jamaican is on his tail. Well, Andy, I mean, I say about it every single week. Some absolute blistering starts out there. Namely, Bertoni's up, well, what's up 6, up 7 now. Mate, that actually scrap that. That's 8.
Yeah, Bay Place is really a man on the charge. He must have had a pit lane start at the start of this to not set the lap. He's flying up the order at the moment, but the car's extremely compact out on track. You literally can't see that much air between the cars as they go down in a big long snake. I mean, we've got the track map, Jonathan, just to have a look how long this train is. I mean, you can just see it there coming down the downhill in turn 7, and the last of them's just going up to the uphill. Absolutely insane how close these guys are together out on track. But at the moment, it's Kane Albertson's managed to take over first place over Aaron Nom coming down the start-finish race into turn 1. So a great passing move there. That's probably the most obvious place to pass with that slipstream effect of these cars coming down the Sam Posse straight there. So Albertson is your new race leader here on lap number 3.
Just to keep you up to date with what's happening, because it is changing constantly evolving. Ali Burton leads from Nom and Panero.
Oh,
overall.
Tim, Bertoni's had an incident there. He was up 13 places, and now he's right down at the back of it. In fact, he is in the pits. Bertoni is in the pits.
Well, it looks like Gibson's got issues as well. So have they had a coming together somewhere out on track? I think that's just around the exit of Big Bend and into the S's, but the pack are going to come round to them very quickly. You can see him storming through. Les Noy, 9th overall, your leader in Spec 2. With Montabaut and Hansen, 2nd and 3rd in Class 15, 17th overall. Marcus Burkett still leading in Masters. But let's take a look at what happened to Bertoni. Was there a bit of... Oh, no, there was a spinner in the background, and where he's round the outside. Wow, just got caught up in someone else's incident, Andy.
Oh, he was absolutely flying up 13 places from where he started, and that's the problem with being this close out on track.
And Andy, something's happened as well. Jorg Marnie's fallen like a stone. He's dropped down 19 places to 24th. Liz Noy and Jason Green also big losers. So I'm guessing they've come into contact somewhere out on track. There is Jorg Marnie in the 25 machine. And not the start he would have been hoping for. He was running well early on. Let's take a look at the replay. So there he is. You can see him about 4 or 5 cars back. That's Lynn ahead of us. Nicelli, he taps Lynn, and then, wow, a big incident. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars all involved. Dobek caught up in there as well. Lesnoy, and the other one would have been Jason Green. I think possibly even Felix Samaus as well. Another one caught up in that too. And we're saying about it, Andy, that we've said it a few times, and that just reinforces the point that drivers need to have eyes in the back of the head, needs to be ultra cautious of your surroundings, and one mistake can cause a big wreck around here with this big grid, short track, and everyone still being so tightly compacted.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the cars being this close to each other gives a perfect illustration there of the domino effect. There was a slight incident in front which involved 2 cars, and that quickly materialized into 5 cars. So pretty much one of the main characteristics of this race, as we watch Ray there managing to get up another position to try and overtake Hansen coming down into the first corner and securing that position. But the car there, look, who was that coming through? The 929 of Bradshaw, just literally flying around that first bend and taking Hansen again. So Hansen loses 2 places to the Masters in 1 corner.
Wow. Ray really pushing hard. He knows he's on for a cracking result here, but he's locked in a real battle with Bradshaw over 3rd in class right now. Ray pushed wide. He's going to lose the lower place. Hansen nicks that place back out of him as here comes Batley looking to capitalise too. Trying to squeeze it up the inside. There's no room there. He backs out of it. Dips back in behind Ray, but Ray's on the attack against Hansen. He wants that place back for him, just feathering the throttle as they head through diving turn, the last corner, and he is sucked up right behind. He's managed to drop badly, give himself a little bit of breathing space, but we're going to see attack from Ray here. Bit of a lock-up in the foreground there. I think that was from Montenbelt. So Fitcher's managed to get past Gory up into 6th too. It's hard to say what's on top of everything that's happening here. Is you can imagine, as all Mark Carter's had a bit of an incident, and he's lost a fair few places too. There's Carter recovering. this Spec 2 driver, and let's take a look at what happened to him here, Andy. Well, it all looks good to start off with. Get a feeling, lose it into turn 1?
Yeah, obviously, just going into turn 1, start losing it, trying to save it, nearly saved it, but unfortunately overcorrected too much and spun out around turn number 1. So it's one of them places on Line Rock that you can get disastrously wrong. Normally you see cars trying to dive up the inside and shooting out wide, but it was a bit of a strange one there for Carter. He went into the corner and he just carried too much speed, basically. Lost his rear end, tried to power steer around and do a rally course corner, but unfortunately just overcorrected it slightly and the car snapped on him. But back out in front, we got Halliburton still holding off Aero Nom for second. We got Panero in third, Maselli in fourth, Lynn in fifth. These 5 cars broken away from the field at the moment. We got Fritcher there in 6th place, but it's still all early to play for, and obviously we've got the ever dice throwing that is the pit stops strategies that these guys are going to be taking. Now it's going to be more important around this lap, around this track, because they're going to be hitting these back markers pretty soon, so there's going to be lots of overtaking. But currently watching Gradwell here out on screen. This midfield battle at the moment is just a big melee as we go 3 wide into turn 1. This is going to be... Whoa! That was close. Luckily managed to sort themselves out before the corner, but that could have been disaster.
Michael Dobek came from behind the pair of them, went through the middle, took complete and utter charge. Just sailed through. I don't know how he kind of managed to merge out the other side completely fine. 2 wide can be scary around Line Rock. 3 wide, well, normally ends in disaster, but what an amazing move there from Dobek. We're right on board with Fabini right now. Currently down 2nd in Spec 2 right now. Sorry, 3rd in Spec 2, apologies. 18th overall, hot on the tails of Gradwell. Battling, well, it's just one long train, isn't it? This train pretty much ends all the way up at Todd Hansen in 12th place, who's your leader in Spec 2. Actually, so I pretty much scrap that because there's only a tiny gap in between, isn't there, really? It starts all the way at number 929, which is Bradshaw in 11th. There's also, that's the 80 off in the foreground there. That was Paolo Gori. I just saw him carry on straight on at the S's and he's into the wall.
Oh, he's gone back to the pits. That's put pay to his race here. But yeah, exactly that. You can see on the timing tower, the front 5 have managed to go away. Then you've got a battle from 6th down to 9th. Then there's another from 10th all the way down to 15th. And then 16th all the way down to 25th. So you've got 4 distinct battling groups of about 6 or 7 cars in each of them. And it's going to be crazy out there, constantly just switching positions. Certainly coming down this straight, down the long Samposi straight here before we start another lap. 11 laps done, so 9 minutes and 32. So we'll just have a quick replay to see what happened to Agori here. Is it round the first corner again? Is it a carbon copy?
No, he carried straight on at the S's, Andy. It was almost like he just lost it. So, that was I'll be looked at maybe by the stewards there potentially, or might have been a hardware failure. Hopefully it's the latter rather than the former, but bit of a unique incident there. Not something we tend to see within this series, but
I think it was accelerator or something. His pedals seemed to couldn't brake.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy one there, but as mentioned, Andy, battles up and down the field, and Halliburton going for a win on his return to the championship. And we talked about pit strategies briefly, of course, last week at Indy. Everyone went incredibly early. Ray's just gone into the pits. Funnily enough, as we mentioned that, only the first 2 pit, but Aaron on pitted like within, I think it was 7 minutes from the start, which is, normally it's within the last 7 minutes of the race. That caused a massive knee-jerk reaction with the whole pack pretty much coming in on the next following 2 laps. What do you think it's going to be a little bit different as always? It's in the background. That was a 767 of Marco Traspadini.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, I think this one's very much going to be a more tactical pit stop, because the front runners will be probably looking at when they're going to look at lapping the back markers, because that's what's really going to hamper their speed out on track. So it may be looking for another early really dart in. I think the ones where there's one or two of them, they may carry on, but when they get into like these groups that we're currently watching, then we can look at it. But Nom's lost it slightly. He's back down there in 5th place, so maybe that was an incident there coming around the first 2 corners, but he's now at the back of this grid. Still not off track.
Andy, there's been a big incident somewhere. I've just had flash up here. There we go. Batley, Gradwell, Rodriguez for cycle up. Oh, there's 4, 5, 6 wide. It's all happening out there, and I think there's been a bit of an issue with a rejoin somewhere. And Andy, you mentioned about with our leaders coming through. Well, this isn't going to help them because we've got about 15 cars nose to tail all over one another. Some of them carrying damage as well. And I think for our leaders, it's going to reinforce that point where you said about them coming into the pits early. So this is Jesus Rodriguez, but it's already happened in front of him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, spinning in front. McCain involved. Marnie somehow manages to pick his way through. Wow, Favini caught up in that as well.
Well, it was just literally near enough the whole track blocked there. I mean, I counted on the screen before we went to the replay about 8 cars with bent fenders, so it's certainly going to be interesting. Let's see if we can see what happened at the front.
Well, there was already a big incident involving 4 of them. I think 2 of them maybe have had a coming together, which then caused another court-scene reaction of another 4 cars.
14 cars, I think, eventually after they got round the second corner, because we still saw cars spinning off around the second corner. So that was about 14 cars of this grid involved in that one.
Here we go. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. No, the back out, they go 2 wide, and there you go. So the 53 gets touched. That's Montenbaut, and that's what causes the catalyst for the incident. There's then people losing it under braking as well.
I mean, that's just perfectly illustrated the fact with the cars closely following each other. One car lost it into turn number 1 then, and it just caused a domino effect. Certainly when you've got the higher grid, and what that has done to the timing tower, you can see now where they were all orange and yellows. There's now a few more whites appeared on the timing screen. So these big groups have been shot to pieces, really, and it's now down to smaller individual groups with about 1.5 seconds in between them. So yeah, that really shook up the field in that lap with 14 cars involved. But I suppose that's the beauty of these cars being this close together. Like you say, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head, on the side of your head, and everywhere in between, because you never know where these incidents are going to come from.
Our top 5 are really breaking away right now. They're about nearly 9 seconds, in fact, clear of Haraski in 6th place. Your leader in Masters with Birkin still in 9th, Bradshaw 10th. That's the top 3 in Masters. Spec 2, Hansen 11th, McCain 13th, and Darlow 14th. As Trespidini from Spec 2 heads into the pit, really shaking things up, like the ingredients inside a cocktail mixer to make a fine margarita. But with 14 minutes 50 seconds complete, still got the bulk of the race to go. It feels like we had enough action to last an absolute lifetime, certainly a whole season worth in many series. But this is another average day in the SRF Weekend Warriors, as Haradsky going for, well, it's having to defend there from Fritscher. Sorry, apologies. And that is the move done, as there's the 767 just rejoining the track. That is Marco Trespidini after coming in from being in the pits. I'm trying to keep half an eye on where our leaders are right now, Andy. So they are just coming up to a big-ish group of about 5 cars. It's going to be interesting to see your theory, if they choose to pit early on when they reach them, or do they look to pick their way through them? As I said, it's about a group of 5. Alan McCain, he's heading, just coming out of the pits. Stevie Ray, still a leader in terms of all the drivers that have pitted. He's 23rd overall right now. Your highest position gainer so far, well, that is a joint honour. Goes to Ryan Walker, the Scot, and Christian Versailles. Up 27 places each. So many series in iRacing. Don't even have 27 drivers. And here they are. Yeah, there they are, picking up 27 places each. There is Christian and Walker and Ryan. start heading around the final corner to Irvington. They are to Sam Posey straight. But as I said, Andy, it's going to be interesting to see what strategy those top 5 play on when they come to pits, as they're starting to catch that bigger group. As I think that was York Marnie running a bit wider there.
Oh, it's Jackson coming off turn 1 as well.
Yeah, that's solid. Yes, it was Jackson. He has a similar livery to Marnie. Well spotted. Well spotted. And that's got. I've got flashbacks.
That's going to be a slowdown.
Well, just a bit. I had flashbacks there to a Michelin Pilot sport race that I had here, where someone rejoined at 90 degrees between, on the exit of the S's to the track, and it caused an absolute carnage. I was in a TCR and I was on pole that day and managed to pick up 13 places by the exit of the S's on lap 1, and ended up pulling away from 5th place car, which was a GT4, and that was back in the days when it was just the Audi RS3. A cracking result, and 4th overall. I was well chuffed with that one, probably one of my best results to date. But it's all about the action out on track here at Lime Rock. Ali Burton still leading from the Selly Panero. Lynn Nom, after he dropped those few places, he's just sat and acted like a sweeper on the back of this group. They're just coming past McCain right now. Is he going to try and aid his teammate here? Well, he's certainly not making it easy for them at all. Just backing them up a little bit. This driver's starting to move out of the way, pulls over to one side to allow them through. There goes Halliburton, Naselli, Panero just about to come through. Lynn might get caught up a little bit. No, he sends it right around the outside. McCain dips onto the grass to allow Nom through. But it seems taxi is going on there, but the gap has opened up between Panero and Lynn. Nearly a whole second now. They were about 4 tenths between them, so that definitely cost them with coming out through these back markers. And just having a bit of a look, you can see there the lap time differences. Well, the next lap is where you're going to see a big old difference when they cross the line, because that is why you've got a lot of fresh air. And do you think Nom is maybe regressing, just sitting behind in this rear group and biding his time?
I think he probably is at the moment. He needs to get past Lynn at the moment, trying to bridge that gap that started to accumulate between 3rd and 4th. But you know, it can all be brought back in again, because this is where all the back markers are really going to come into play. Luckily we've got one there just staying out of the way at the moment, so it's going to be when they get into the fighting packs of back markers that is going to be the real issue for these front drivers. And I think that's where we will see a couple of the drivers maybe thinking about coming in slightly earlier to try and give them their spare place. But when Jonathan put that track map up, there was literally no spare space out on track. I mean, you can see there from 5th down to 30th, there's a slight little gap there, but pretty much the whole track now is just covered with these SRF cars at the moment. So even if you try to pit early, you're not going to get out necessarily in some fresh air to make them lap times count. So pretty much that big crash that we saw, which involved around about 14 cars, has really shaken the grid up. We saw how close they were in the first opening 5 laps, and now it's just been blown apart, and there's literally cars covering literally this 1.5 mile circuit.
Macarivi into the pits. Where is he going to come out into the equation? Fritcher pitted just a few moments ago. I think he's going to come out in front of Fritcher. Yeah, that's a good pit stop. There's Fritcher just behind him, so that's really worked out for the Brits. Oh, another car off the track. That was Luca Leone. So that was for position, and he had yet to pit. That's a big mistake from the Italian that's going to cost him dearly. That's Stevie Ray right behind him. So that's a battle for position overall, not within class. Leone Spec 2, Ray in Masters. So directly, but this is a gaggle of cars here with Samaus, Lisnoy tucked up right behind them. You can see all 4. This is 21st through to 24th. And there is Samaus trying to find his way back up through. Likewise with Lisnoy too.
AKA Chris Pringles.
Yes, as you've renamed him after seeing his livery, Andy. Rightly so. As I'd tell you what, Burke is on for a cracking result here. Went well in qualifying. Now 6 overall, leading in Masters, but he is yet to pit. Our top 16 have yet to head into pit row. Likewise, Brewster, Love, and Leone were 19th through 21st, respectively. Gianni Longin in 27th, yet to pit too. Walker and Versailles, they've now climbed a couple more places, but like I said, they are yet to pit. Now of a whopping 30 places. Only in the Weekend Warriors. Only in the Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Norma has managed to get past Lynn, but he does have a 1.6 gap deficit that he needs to try and claw back to Panero in third place. So if there's anybody that can do it, it's Aero Norm. So just watch out for that space. And that may pull Lynn up with him, because Lynn seemed to be struggling a little bit there in fourth place. Now Nom's got past him, he may be able to keep in his slipstream and Nom be able to pull him up, but that gap is not closing. If anything, is getting him.
Halliburton's in. There. He's into the pits, and there he is. There's a big cloud of smoke in the background where clearly threw out the anchors to get the car slowed down in time. But this is where it almost becomes like a multi-class endurance race, where the traffic will play such a large part of the story here, where you'll be able to gain a lot of time or you will lose a lot of time depending on where you come up behind those back markers. And that's what we've already seen, where we've got this gap between Nicelli and Panero, and then Nom and Lynn, as Hansen is in as well. Definitely the pit window starting to open for our top group in this sort of second phase of pit stops we're seeing right now. Burkett, that is Haraski. This is the battle for the lead in Masters right now, and this is how close it is. 1/10 of a second. They head up through the uphill along the back straight. It's not really that much of a straight. It's only, what, a few hundred yards in length through West Bend to drop down the hill underneath the bridge, swing right into this fast swooping corner that is diving turn, and here comes Haraski. Haranguing, harrying Burkett right now. He pulls alongside, and this is going to be a change for the lead in Masters into Big Bend, and he gets the move done with relative ease in the end, and Haraski reclaims the lead over Burkett. But we still got 16 minutes left to run. And this one's feeling, I don't know about you, Andy, it's feeling like it's lasting in a lifetime right now, because the amount of action we've got out on track, it feels like we've had about 6 races already.
It does, with the amount of incidents we've had, cars looking off, and poor Jonathan up in the production box, been a very busy bunny, showing us all the replays of all the incidents that's been going on. It's just like, I think this whole race, if he wanted to, could be just a string of replays of all the incidents we had, which is what we come to expect around here with Line Rock, with these cars out on track, and with it being an SRF weekend race, they are always action-packed. So, you know, our viewers are being treated to a real spectacle of crashes and major incidents out on track, but some also quality racing as we watch the battle here. Ray there in 22nd position, just behind Simone's there, the number 21, in 21st position, number 31 car. So there's a couple of cars in this group from 21st all the way down to 24th, so 4 cars involved in this battle as we watch the dive down the inside there.
Yeah, I was looking at Noy, having a bit of a look on the inside there, but that's going to cost him dearly, I think, because as Noy behind him is now going to come on the attack and claim the place off him. That all came from getting his line. You said it during, I think it was qualifying, Andy, but that's so crucial to get your line right through diving turn, the final corner, because it set you up down the Samposi straight away for your maximum top speed. If you get it right, and if you didn't, you're so compromised. And that is a great example of what we've seen here. Now we see Andalo. Right behind him is Kane Halliburton, who was leading before he headed into the pits, the highest position car of everyone that has pitted so far, and as he makes his way past, that is 9th overall right now. The gap between himself and Nicelli, who is leading, is 27 seconds. Has he done enough, Andy? I think... No, it's going to be close, this one. It is going to be close when they come out, and we've seen it time and time again. I'll tell you what as well, you said about it earlier. With that gap that opened up earlier on between Naselli and Panero versus Norm and Lynn, it hasn't shrunk at all, really. It's still sort of stagnated, although I say that, it's just dropped by 3 tenths in front of my eyes. So clearly coming up behind a bit of traffic right now. And yes, there is one car ahead of them. Didn't quite clock who that was. Well, actually, there's an absolute gaggle of cars. Wow, now this is time to the acid test for your theory, Andy. What do? Do they pit? Well, as they're coming up onto this traffic, and they couldn't have called it much of a worse time, really.
Either a worse time or a best time, because they've got the opportunity now to come into the pits if they decide to do so. But it looks like he is. Yes, he is. He's coming into the pits. So taking my advice, so I should be a team director, I think.
It was only Naselli that did, though, interestingly. Panero, Norm and Lynn all carry on.
They were probably a little bit further back, weren't they? They were a little bit further back from that main gaggle, so they're probably thinking, this lap I can still push the speed on and then get up right to the back of the group and then come in. So I'd expect them to come in at the end of this lap, but let's see where we get on.
Norm and Panero, yes, so there is Naselli. Where is Halliburton? Well, they're going to come out right together. Look at this. You couldn't get much closer, but Halliburton has definitely lost time in traffic from that earlier stop because Naselli has got the jump on him. Running a bit later, running a bit deep is clearly working right now, but it hasn't been a lap too far for Panero, Norm and Lynn. We've got 12 minutes left on the clock, not long to find out at all as Panero's into the pits. He's dived in. Norm and Lynn, they've carried on. Now, where is Panero going to come out? Is he going to come out in line with his teammate Naselli? Or is Halliburton going to get the jump on him as well? Well, he pulls up to his pit box in the 16 machine. He tumbles down through the order naturally as the field comes past him. Has he done enough? Well, he's just got out of his pit box. This is going to be close again as Halliburton now mounting the attack onto Naselli. Panero's going to come out in front of the pair of them, though. And by a margin too. 7 tenths. Oh, there's an incident in front of them. This is going to really kill off that margin. Oh, this is going to affect our leaders. Oh no, Halliburton caught up. The 16 of Panero and Naselli somehow manages to find a way through the roadblock, and he's pulled out of the advantage. Nom's into the pits. Lynn's carried on. Let's see where Nom's going to come.
Stopping. Halliburton is stopping, going into the pits.
Oh no, after such a great drive from Halliburton on his return to the championship, where you see where they just all got into one another. There's Halliburton, driver's right, and oh, Naselli, you lucky, lucky boy. How did you get away with that one? But interestingly, Norman Haraski, they're into the pits. Where is Norm going to come out? He should come out in front of these guys due to the amount of time they lost through that incident. And there he is. And wow, he's right with Naselli, but he's made up about 2 seconds, Andy, during those pit stops due to largely that incident we've just seen. Now, where's Lynn going to come into this equation? Surely he's going to come out between these two. There is Lin, and we're going to see him dive in. He's really going for it. He's going again. It's the Chinese driver not hanging around. Pedal to the metal. That is the 82 in front of him. That's one the back. That's John Wilson, who's a bit further down through the field. But Lin's got a bit of a chance now. Bit of fresh air, Andy. Do you think he's going to leave it another lap or two, maybe?
So, I mean, he's got enough of air in front of him to not be getting right onto the back of that group. It's very much when you hit the back of that group with the amount of cars that was in front of Lynn as we watch a passing move here. And Naselli managing to get past Nom coming down this first straight, coming into turn number 1 and getting the move done. So takes over lead, but it just showed Nom was about, like you said, near enough 2 seconds behind the group in front. With that incident has really brought him back into play. I mean, we know he's a really quick driver out on track. Wasn't really getting any inroads into that time, but that slight incident has really played into Nom's hands, and he's now back up with the front runners and really putting Naselli under a lot of pressure here. And you have Panero just behind him there in third place, but Lynn is in, so let's see where he comes out.
So, stationary. surely is going to come out in front. Let's find out. Well, that's a quick stop from Lynn, 8.7 seconds. That is about half a second quicker than these three who are all over each other. And there is Lynn out in front of them as they all sort of just stop attacking one another in a bit of dismay at seeing Yangji Lin emerge out of the pit lane in front of them. But look at the traffic, it's coming, and Lin's going to be the first one onto this back of a gaggle of three cars. We've seen it before, Andy, we saw it earlier. It was chaos, it was mayhem when we were in this situation last time. And look at the closing speed from Lin up over the rise. You see the way the car catches air. We look back from Lin, and it doesn't have the car on the inside, not making the most comfortable, but he gets in between Lin and Naselli, and that's just going to back up Naselli. This is being gifted to Lin. All three of them, Naselli, Nom, Panero, are all going to be compromised coming through the final turn, and this is getting better and better for Lin. That's one dispatched off. Next up, there's 3 more cars left to go. We've got 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Don't go anywhere because this is going to be absolutely enthralling. And Panero just getting caught up in the bit of the traffic. He's dropped off the back of Naselli and Nom. And can they catch up, Andy? Well, this is going to be close. It's going to be tight.
It certainly is. Panero there got caught out by a car coming out of the pit lane, so just tucked in between himself and Nom, which the reason why he lost the back of the group at the moment, but still well within touch. But Lin at the moment is just meeting these cars at the perfect opportunity. Again, a back marker may compromise the rest of the grid coming down here. The car number 30 here is on a Stormer, so luckily that back marker went to the inside, so the second, third and fourth place runners at the moment would have got through that with limited time lost. But Errol Noms there just trying to overtake Naselli again into the first corner, but doesn't quite get it done. Naselli just holding his line on the inside of the big bend here out in Lime Rock. But Lin at the moment is just getting all the luck in the world with these back marker traffic, just hitting them at the right time coming out of a corner and getting the overtakes done. So at the moment, Lin with a 1.2 second gap to Naselli in second. It's game on.
So a game on, a brawling battle. This is over 5th overall right now, the best of the rest title. Fritscher, Makareve and Haratsky, your leader in Masters, battling out with the pros. He doesn't need to. Ray is on for second in class, is 12th at the moment, well behind them, about 5 seconds behind Haratsky. As you see, Yogmani in the background, he's done well to recover after earlier incidents from him. I think McCain's had a bit of an incident out of track. He's lost a couple of places, but keeping one eye on the gap out the front. That's staying as it is. Lin doing well as battles. They're all coming back together once again. Enthralling stuff here in round 8 of the championship from Lime Rock Park as Fritscher having to defend for Makareve once again, but Haratsky looking to be a bit cheeky, a bit opportunistic there into Big Bend, but can't quite pull it off for now. But Lin's lost some time. He's lost about 4 attempts out in front. As that traffic is playing a part, and where Andy, you were saying, he was getting lucky with it all. He was meeting it at exactly the right time. It's starting to come undone a little bit, and I tell you what, this group, they were held up a little. That was McCain who was just in front of them. But they're going to get a slipstream all the way down the Samposi straight. That is the 42 just in front of him. That's Michael Dobek. First of the drivers, 1 lap down, all the way down in 21st right now. It's a shame for him because I think he would have been amongst these guys if he hadn't been caught up in an earlier incident. This is losing Naselli time. Just put this inside the cockpit right now, Andy. How infuriating, frustrating is it when you're stuck behind a back marker who's quick, but not quite as quick as you, and you can see the guy in front, the leader in front of, one car ahead, just extending out the gap.
Yeah, that's it. The red mist starts to descend on you, and you really got to keep your cool. Obviously, just try and get past the back marker as quickly as physically possible. Sometimes it's not always an option to be able to try and do that, and they have lost a little bit of time there, but it's only 0.5 of a second between Naselli and Lin. But
it's close, Andy, isn't it? That was nearly disaster. dicing with death, dancing with the devil. Naselli, Norman, Panero, and Lin will be looking in his mirrors. Well, he'll be rubbing his hands with glee right now if you dare take his hands off the steering wheel. He gets a little bit wide. They just catches the grass drifting there, coming out of the S's as they're tripping up over even more traffic. We've got 3.5 minutes left on the clock. That is all that's to go. And this is where we start to see the big moves. The more adventurous one starts to be pulled out right now. Naselli runs wide. This is Nom's chance. Naselli's going to lose a bit of speed here through diving turn, and can Nom capitalise? Well, Naselli looks like he's just about going to hold on, or is he? He ducks across to defend the line, trying to pick up a bit of slipstream from a back marker, and that has saved Naselli and hold on to second. But the gap to Lin has closed. It's 3 attempts. He gets a bit twitchy. He gets a bit nervous.
Oh,
and now
Panero.
all of a sudden, oh, that was close in the background for Panero, wasn't it, Andy?
Oh, a bit of a side swipe there from one of the back markers there, car number 29. Panero was living on the edge there at the moment, but these three are joint in. So Lin has been caught by Naselli and Nom, but Naselli and Nom are battling uber hard at the moment. Oh, Haraski is
that's
come
from
off.
lead. That's from the lead in Masters. He was having an absolutely amazing race, and now he finds himself second in class, 12th overall, with Ray now in the lead at Masters. It's all happening. Head to a replay. This is what happened to Haraski. And, this doesn't look good ahead of him. And there's Yogmani. There's a spin. I think, Yogmani taps him. And I wondered whether he was dicing with death a little bit and risking it all, battling with those leaders. But it's all happening here for the lead, because Lin has now got a queue starting to fall behind him. Nom trying to find a way past Naselli. He wants to get into Lin. He wants another victory to his name in this championship. But Panero is sat behind, just preoccupying, waiting as they take the fast right hand of the uphill along the back straight. Andy, how's this one gonna turn out? Because I've got no idea.
Have you got a coin? I think it's a flip of a coin here. You know, I think the back markers have got a big role to play in this in this race out here tonight. We've got 2 to go in this. We've got 2 cars in front, another one just going around the first corner. These are all over at the moment. Naselli just looking down the inside. Nom just closing the door on Lin closing the door on Naselli, and Nom just trying to look for a space as well. These 4 literally are joined by a cord at the moment, just trying to fight over the place. As we can see, Nom there all over the back of Naselli, just trying to get the opportunity of a passing move from an unorthodox move maybe on Lin. So I think there may be an opportunity for a double car pass here, as we've seen in previous rounds, but Lin at the moment is not buckling under the pressure. We've got 1 lap to go here at Lime Rock Park. 4-horse race. Who's going to win this? It's anybody's game at the moment.
It's more like a chain car race. That's how close our top 4 are right now, under a second. In fact, under half a second covering them. Lin goes defensive early on. They come across the line. The white flag flies here in Lime Rock Park. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. The battle for the lead is absolutely on. And there's contact between Naselli and Nom, and Lin gets away with it, but Panero picks everyone's pocket and moves up into second place. But this isn't done and dusted. They're still going to fight back. Nom now down into 4th. Lin still leading. Naselli remaining pretty much where he was in some ways, but they're almost bump drafting, not pushing Naselli along to close up to Panero and Lin as they clatter the curves. They're going to come up with some traffic potentially on the race to the line. They should catch them on the exit out of diving turn as Panero has a bit of a look at Lin. They touch the grass on the outside as they come through the final turn. Surely this is going to be it. We're going to see a race to the line, but Lin's going to take the victory. But can Nom get past Naselli? They're going for it. Here comes the line, and that is Lin, Panero, Naselli, and Nom. 6 tenths of a second, covering 4 places, but it is not done and dusted because Hansen has got Lesnoiba right behind him as they go for a race for the line. Cars scattered absolutely all over the place as they come across start finish.
Wow. I mean, that's... Wow. I think we say that probably the most often in this series than any other series. I mean, the racing is just phenomenal. I mean, I don't think there's a better spectacle to watch on the stream on our YouTube channel than the SRF weekend. You have incidents, you have close battle racing throughout the whole of the field, and then grandstand finishes like that. But give it up for Lynn. He was the last chances in the pit stops, managed to work for him, get a little bit of a lead. Did get caught by the leaders coming through, but managed to keep his cool to get that race win here.
Andy, I wouldn't even go as far as to say here on Apex Racing TV. I'd say probably it's sim racing in general. Across all the platforms, you do not get pound for pound much better racing than this. And the ironic thing is, you know, those that are thinking, yeah, it's not that great a car, I don't really like driving it. Well, reigning champion, he doesn't really like the car either. But he comes for the great racing week in, week out. Let's take you through your classified results. Well, they were always a breakaway group, but look at the commanding gap that they had. Lynn takes a victory here in round 8 of the championship from Lime Rock Park, with Panero, who looked like he said no chance coming onto the final lap, picks up second place with Niselli in third, Erinom into fourth. And then it is a 24 seconds gap to Jorg Mani in fifth. That is how much these guys managed to pull away. With Makarivi in 6th, Samals 7th, Fritscher 8th, Todd Hansen 9th overall, you're winning in Spec 2 with Lesnoy. Granny at your top 10, 2nd in Spec 2. Stevie Ray picks up the victory here in Masters. He's going to be ecstatic about that one. But it's all down to Hiraski playing with fire, battling with the Spec 1 guys. And in the end, it ended in tears for him, and it's cost him the class victory. He picks up second place, 12th overall, with Bradshaw running out your Masters podium. Jason Green's 14th, with Fabio Andalo 15th, and running out your podium in Spec 2. Ryan Walker, what a race from him, up 27 places. Now, we say about people gaining a lot of places in this championship. Next closest place gainer is Christian Versailles, and he's only up 18 places. Rookie numbers in comparison to what Ryan Walker has achieved today. The great racing for the satellite racing driver that Scott will be absolutely proud of. Serge Montalval 17th. Ken Batley finishes 18th, with Michael Dobeck. Would have been thereabouts with our lead group, but that instant cost him dearly. 19th overall for him, with Gradwell running out your top 20. Jim Brewster, Nunes, Love, Cantor, Burkitt. Gutting for Burkitt. He was looking potential for a race victory, so victory within class. 25th in the end. Well down. I believe that is 10th in class. Gutting for the Welshman. Christian Versailles mentioned up 19 places. Great, but completely eclipsed by Ryan Walker. Even so, good result for Hit the German, with McCain down in 27th, Jackson 28th. Those drivers caught up in that big incident we saw, which involved around nearly 15 cars. Favini, 29th. John Wilson running out your top 30 with Longin, Kern, Leone, 2 laps down, Trespedini, Bugzopa, Kane Halliburton. He would have been there in that fight right at the end, but that incident undid his race. The Jamaican has returned to the championship, retiring all the way back on lap 30. Walbot retired on lap 28. Carter, lap 28. Jesus Rodriguez, lap 15. Stephen McDonald, we lost on lap 13. Gibson, we lost on lap 11. Joaquin Effinger, we lost him on lap 10. Paolo Gori on lap 9. And Trespetoni, always see him coming through the field. Wasn't to be one incident, cost him dear. We lost him on lap 2, with Poulin and Dorelli not making the start. Let's have a bit of a chat, Andy, to some of our drivers. And first up, well, some may say it's a little bit of bias when, or something's afoot when you win at your own league. But I think truly well deserved today. Stevie Ray now joins us. 11th overall, winner in Masters. It just all came together for you today, didn't it?
Hi, Tim. Yeah, it was a pretty good race. We were missing a couple of the other Masters front runners, or I probably wouldn't be here, but it was a lot of fun, good race. So I figured I was kind of close, and then saw Miro through the weeds there on the last 4 laps to go, and I thought that had to be it. So,
Well, yeah, it was. It brought the race right back to you. But even so, even if that hadn't happened, you still would have been second in class and, knocking on the door of the top 10 as well. I mean, that aside, it was still an absolutely astounding race. I mean, just put us inside the car. You mentioned that it was a little bit crazy out there. I heard you speaking to the drivers on the formation lap as well, about being a bit aware. Just put us inside the car, what it was like being in the midfield in those opening laps.
oh yeah, it always is, and especially on a tight circuit like this. You're in midfield, and at the start, the tires are cold, and I always kind of warn everybody on the warm-up lap, just as a reminder more than anything, that they got cold tires. Take it easy. Let's get some heat in. Let things settle out before you start racing too hard. And there's some close calls at first, and you just kind of watch out and weave your way through it and keep your head down and go.
Now, Stevie, I'm sure there's probably some people looking at home thinking, well, this racing is just completely crazy. I want to be part of it. Obviously, as mentioned earlier, you are the series organizer. We're starting to come to the close of this season, obviously looking ahead to next season. Those that want to get involved at home, how do they go about doing so?
Well, we have a league page on my website. It's esportsracing.com. And there's league pages for our Formula V Weekend Warriors, as well as this one. The Formula V isn't broadcast right now, but those cars are a ton of fun as well. They do a race before this, so it's kind of a warm-up, and a lot of close racing there as well. I think you'll find your best racing out there in these underpowered cars. You just momentum and racecraft and everything, and it's just a ton of fun. But yeah, it's esportsracing.com is our website. It's the SRF Weekend Warriors is the league on iRacing. We require a D license 3.0 safety rating or better. And then, as you guys have shown through the broadcast, we got the 3 classes to put everybody in. So come on out. We've always looking for more fun people, respectful racing, and 40 to 60 cars every week. There's always somebody to race with.
There is indeed, as we have probably slightly on the side of a lighter grid this week with 46 cars registered. It's always big grids, big action, big fun, isn't it? Week in, week out. Steve, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, we got to thank RaceVoice for coming on and taking care of the broadcast for several years now, and they're going to be through next year, as they've already told me. So huge thanks to Steve for that. Steve Spano is the president of RaceVoice. So, and then of course it doesn't happen without the guys on track every week. So big thanks to them for making this league what it is.
I completely second all your points there. It's absolutely spectacular, and that's why I love commentating on this series week in, week out. It's great fun. That's Stevie Ray, your series organizer for the SRF Weekend Warriors, but also 11th overall and your victor here today in the Masters class. Now, Andy, I understand you're standing by with another one of our drivers you managed to collar to have come over a bit of a chat with us.
Yeah, definitely. We have our race winner. You actually join us in the commentary booth. You actually, wow. I mean, what a race. 46 cars on a 1.5 mile track. I mean, how was that race for you?
Back in summer of 2020, we had 62 cars at this track, so I have seen it before.
Oh, you always have to do one better, actually. But no, it's a great race. Obviously, you were just hanging on to the back of the group in the first half of this race. All the front runners in front of you decided to pit slightly early. You went deep into the race, and it really paid off for you. Was that a strategy that you had at the start, or was it, something you were just on the fly of deciding when it was the best time to pit?
Actually, I decided to pit with 10 laps to go because it is easier for me to calculate fuel. I just multiply my usual fuel number by 10, and I have how much fuel I need.
So it's not very scientific then, just always 10 laps to go, but it certainly paid off for you today. You managed to get that 1.2 second lead coming out of the pits after an earlier incident with some back markers in front of your competitors. but by the end of the race, they managed to catch you up. How was that last 3 laps in this race?
I will say this circuit is a circuit that's easier to defend, harder to overtake. The pit stop really helped me, I have to say. I didn't have much pace today. I mean, the reason that I was hanging back in the lead pack was because I actually had no pace. My car understeers way too much. Like I can never have a good run on the exit. It's just I can't pull any overtake. I wasn't saving much neither. I think there was one point that I even lost the lead pack with Arrow trying to feel safe behind me, and I was hoping for him to overtake me so we can catch back up, but he just keeps saving. But in the end, he overtook me. Probably he saw that we will lose too much time. So,
Yeah,
I feel like I didn't really have much pace today. It was all luck.
Well, I mean, you've got to have some of that in racing luck, and obviously with a track this short, the back markers sort of play a big part in who's going to win the races here. I mean, how were trying to overtake the back markers around this short, narrow track?
I mean, I'm on a single screen. I always take it the most conservative way as possible. That's actually the reason why I lost the lead pack. So, I mean, as I said, I've seen 62 cars here before, so nothing new.
Yeah, definitely. But a great win here, Yanchi, and obviously another race victory to your event. So getting yourself up that leaderboard. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Obviously, thank you guys for broadcasting it, and thank for Mr. Stevie Ray organizing the league, and my apology to the lap 4 incident. I think I might ended 5 people's race while escaping myself. I don't know, it was just a check up there, and I was really lucky that I got out there alive with like no damage to myself's car.
Well, it's all about luck in these shorter races, larger grids. So good win today for yourself, and look forward to seeing you next week at the same time. So good win today for Yanchi there. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was Yanchi there, our race winner for this epic 40-minute race around Lime Rock Park. I mean, Tim, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I mean, wow. I mean, it's just epic racing, 40 minutes. And I think Ray put it perfectly. Low power cars produce the best racing on iRacing.
I completely and utterly agree with you on that one, Andy. It's, you know, we see it within, you know, our own leagues here that we broadcast on the Apex of the Mazda League. We see it obviously within this series, the RF4s on a Saturday night, which Seb, our fellow commentator, covers. Great racing week in, week out. It's all, you know, pound for pound. You don't get better racing than in these low-powered cars. But talking about other leagues coming up on the channel right now, on the other side is the IGP Fun F3. They're about 10-11 laps in. They're at Spa with Seb and Austin. Make sure you head across there afterwards. There's always great drama, big grids, big action within that league as well. They're coming up on Monday nights at 8 PM, so tomorrow night. Where has the weekend gone? It is the iRacing Israel League. I covered that last season. There was absolutely epic racing in that one. Road America there. Then we got Ritmatek from Daytona. Shake and Bake round 3 from Silverstone. And then, of course, the ARL GT3 Trophy. That's in a couple of days at time at 8 PM. But, well, what a race here again. I'm off for a lie down, as I'm sure Andy and Jonathan are, because that has been another crazy race with a grandstand finish. But it's just another average weekend in the Weekend Warriors. We have it every single week. But will we get the same next time out? Well, I'm sure we will. It's a bigger circuit this time, though, as we head across to Japan for round 9 from Suzuka.